Let's go to CommSec. Tom Piotrowski joins us live now. Tom, it's wild out there, and I'm not talking about the weather.
Well, yes, it can be savage when you leave the living room, Pete. That's the risk that you take, I suppose.
Yeah.
But there is some comfort on offer in terms of the share market this morning, because we've seen stocks globally under pressure for a couple of days now, but that came to a bit of an end last night, and the consolidations in place where Wall Street is concerned for today at least. So as we speak now, we've got about 15 minutes remaining in the US session. The NASDAQ is up by 1.5%. The S&P 500 is up by almost 0.75%, and the Dow Jones is up by about 0.5%. There are some important outcomes. You just mentioned petrol prices, the dislocation that can create in terms of people's behaviour and thinking. Mercifully, last night we have seen a very substantial drawdown in prices, down by as much as 6% from the peak to the trough for the US benchmark. So there's some evidence of the supply picture improving. This is in terms of the US numbers last night that the Energy Information Administration produces. So that saw oil prices finish down by 5%. They were down more from peak to trough. There was also some news in relation to US jobs, which is a bit softer than what the market had been anticipating. This is a private report called the ADP report. It's a monthly outcome that precedes the official government numbers. And this softening today created some hopes that perhaps the numbers on Friday might not be as robust, because arguably employment growth is probably one of the factors that influences central banks, at least talking about leaving rates higher for the time being. So those figures contributed to a moderation where the recent rises in interest rates were concerned, and that all contributed to that improvement where stocks are concerned. So today we're actually looking at a pretty favourable setup as far as the local picture is concerned. The futures are telling us that the ASX 200 could be up by around 0.5% when we kick off later on this morning.